principles that I laid out yesterday, the belief that our ultimate goal has to be a secure Israeli state, a Jewish state, living side by side in peace and security with a contiguous, functioning, and effective Palestinian state. Obviously, there are some differences between us in the precise formulations and language, and that's going to happen between friends. But what we are in complete accord about is that a true peace can only occur if the ultimate resolution allows Israel to defend itself against threats, and that Israel's security will remain paramount in U.S. Evaluations of any prospective peace deal.
To those rising tensions between Israel and the United States over Iran. With me now are Karim Sajadpour, an Iran expert at the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace, and David Sanger, chief Washington correspondent for the New York Times and author of Confront and Conceal. Gentlemen, thank you for being with us.
So if these new reports are correct, that Israel is now being granted access to Azerbaijan, what does this mean?
Well, I'd say two things. One, substantively, obviously Israel can do the math and the geography, and if it can get positions closer to Iran's nuclear targets to be able to attack them, that's so much the better from Israel's point of view. Israel knows how difficult preemptive military attack would be, and it's not surprising if these reports are true, and I'm not commenting one way or the other whether they are. But I think there's another point here beneath the substantive point, and that is that these reports come from American intelligence officials. Now, if you think back a month or so ago, Defense Secretary Panetta said publicly that he thought if Israel attacked Iran, it would be in the April, May, June period. And I think the reason he did that was that the Obama administration's private effort to pressure Israel not to attack Iran were failing, and they had decided to go public. I think this leak today is part of the administration's campaign against an Israeli attack.
Yeah, in fact, you're not alone. There are reports today in Israel News that, in fact, the U.S. is leaking this classified information in order to dissuade Israel. So why is the U.S. doing that?
I think the Obama administration has long believed that an Israeli attack was worse than an Iranian nuclear weapon. The president says that containment and deterrence of Iran is not his policy, and I think today that's true. But it's his plan B. It's his backup plan when his current efforts at sanctions fail and diplomacy fails and Iran gets nuclear weapons. And I think that the pressure that the administration has put on Israel has been just merciless behind the scenes. But nonetheless, as I say, every evidence is that the pressure's failing, that the Israeli government will do what they think is necessary. So the Obama administration has torqued it up a notch, and now they're going to reveal very sensitive, very important information that will allow Iran to defeat an Israeli attack. I think that's what's going on.
So if Israel does take advantage of these Azerbaijani airstrips or places that they can launch from, what does that mean for the U.S.?
Well, I'm not saying I have any knowledge about anything in Azerbaijan, but what it means is that the likelihood of an Israeli attack would be more successful because the distances are shorter. They can have their planes over the target for longer periods of time. They have to worry less about aerial refueling. There are a whole host of reasons why being able to attack from closer in positions makes sense. So releasing this information so that the Iranians now know about it takes away a potentially very powerful mode of attack that hitherto the Israelis had been able to keep secret.
Former Ambassador John Bolton, thanks so much for your expertise.
We've been weak-kneed in supporting our friends, and we have, particularly Israel, and we have been far too much, there's been far too much bowing to enemies. I think it's the opposite of Teddy Roosevelt's dictum of speaking softly but carrying a big stick. When Ronald Reagan was inaugurated, the Iranians didn't know what he was going to do, and so they released those hostages that had been for over 400 days during the inauguration ceremony. He had no problem calling it straight. Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall. You Soviets are an evil empire. But still smiling and meeting them in Geneva and talking to them and so forth. And somehow we've gotten into the mode of thinking that if we're going to get along with people we've had problems with before, like some of the Arab states, that the way to get along with them is to basically to bow. And I just don't think that's the right approach. I think Reagan had it right.
And the Arabs outplay their hand repeatedly. I mean, they could have gotten the U.S., for example, in February to vote for an anti-Israel resolution in the UN. The U.S. would have supported it if they toned it down, and they refused to tone it down, which, by the way, is an important example of how this politics works. So they will demand too much, they will overplay their hand, and they'll end up not getting anything. But so again, my concern is not this, and also remember there are counterfactors on the Israel issue that there aren't on any other issue. American public opinion is strongly pro-Israel. American Congress is strongly pro-Israel. And therefore, the threat to me is not on U.S.-Israel relations. The threat is on the crumbling of the American position in the Middle East, which endangers Israel, but it also endangers other people. A lot of people are my friends. And our interests are parallel in a way that's never been true before. That is, Israeli interest, Jordanian interest, Saudi interest, Gulf Arab interest, opposition in Iran, opposition in Turkey. This is unprecedented. We are all in, that doesn't mean that everybody's going to become close friends and hug each other, but we are all in the same boat. We face the same threat. They know it. They say so privately. Sometimes they say so publicly.
Territory and security, generated some controversy over the past few days. And for us to have leverage with the Palestinians, to have leverage with the Arab states, and with the international community, the basis for negotiations has to hold out the prospect of success. And so in advance of a 5-day trip to Europe, in which the Middle East will be a topic of acute interest, I chose to speak about what peace will require.
I'm totally puzzled by those who applauded for Obama here at AIPAC today. I see a man who does what is politically expedient only. He is campaigning and he is wooing the American Jews. It is amazing to me that they can continue to be so naive and trusting to someone who has really thrown Netanyahu under the bus. The idea of the 1967 borders. Are we to give back the wall, give back Hebrew University, give back Hadassah?
What do you think President Obama's speech did to the rift that started with the original meeting?
Well, I think it helped contribute to addressing some of the issues. I don't think it's such a deep rift. I think there are disagreements on issues, but on the fundamentals, I think that there is agreement. I know the meeting between the Prime Minister and the President went better than I think either one expected, that there was really many more areas of agreement. Now we'll have to see as they move ahead that we put this behind us and recognize that overwhelmingly the United States and Israel share concerns, values, history, and that together they can face the future much more effectively.
When Obama is lying through his teeth and stabbing Israel in the back. Oh, the new version. We got the version on Thursday. Here's the new version, the cleaned up version. Didn't work. Nobody's buying into this crap. How are you going to divide Jerusalem and give it to the people who danced in the streets after 9/11? You're going to take our covenant doesn't mean anything and attack our faith, and we have to give it to the slime that's there doing what? Saying they want to kill Americans and kill Israel? I mean, what is this? And then we have to divide the country altogether. So there's a corridor between Hamas and Gaza and Fatah, both of them who are bent on Israel's destruction. And then you have your beloved Fuhrer telling AIPAC, no less, oh, we're on your side for security. What security is there if you're attacking our faith? You coward. You won't open up your mouth about Jews and Christians and Hindus and Buddhists being murdered by these Muslims and fanatics. And the bottom line is, Obama...
Screaming about
IDF, man. That was the IDF. That was the IDF, man.
So what?
Where are you from?
DemoCast.
What's DemoCast?
DemoCast online news. So what's your beef?
Are you nonpartisan?
I'm objective. What's your beef with him?
Beef with the IDF? Yeah. All you gotta look is Operation Cast Lead and the Gaza Strip. I'm in
what does Hamas, part of the coalition government, want?
Oh my God. Hamas? I can't speak for Hamas, man.
What does their charter say they want?
I don't know what his damn charter... you know what?
It calls for the destruction of the state of Israel, right?
Obviously you're not nonpartisan, man.
No, I'm asking you. Why are you here?
Why am I here? Because I support the Palestinian people. I am opposed to apartheid. I believe in human rights, and I know that our government is not supporting that, and it's supporting the Palestinian people. And it's not what our government should be representing. They should be representing the people. They should be representing human rights for all. And we should not be giving money to Israel to do the atrocities that they do.
We gave $400 million to Hamas, who oppresses all the liberal values you're talking about. Where's your protest to that?
You know, the people in Palestine have a right to make choices.
They don't.
They have a right.
They're occupied the way the Russians were occupied by a totalitarian regime.
They're occupied, and they're allowed to. They did elect Hamas, and that's their choice. And when you oppress people in this way, that you get oppression back. So. And they're no more of a terrorist organization than our own government is.
Than the U.S. government?
Yes.
The U.S. government is equivalent to Hamas, you're saying?
But if we hope to advance peace with the Palestinians, then it's time that we admitted another truth. This conflict has raged for nearly a century because the Palestinians refused to end it. They refused to accept the Jewish state. Now, This is what this conflict has always been about. There are many issues linked to this conflict that must be resolved between Israelis and Palestinians. We must resolve them. But I repeat, we can only make peace with the Palestinians if they're prepared to make peace with the Jewish state.
Schools is not defendable!
You think they have these protests in Gaza? What a way to get a standing ovation. Events in the region are opening people's eye to a simple truth. The problems of the region are not rooted in Israel. It's out of jail. What will change this? One word. Democracy. Real, genuine democracy. And by democracy, I don't just mean elections. I mean freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly, the rights for women, for gays, for minorities, for everyone. What the people of Israel want is for the people of the Middle East to have what you have in America, what we have in Israel, democracy. So it's time to recognize this basic truth. Israel is not what's wrong with the Middle East. Israel is what's right about the Middle East.
President Obama is meeting with Bibi Netanyahu.
I can tell you what to say.
In the White House right now. Through his teeth about everything that's going on. Once again, setting up Israel and the Jews for a fall.
Who is?
Once again, showing no respect for the Jewish faith.
Who's setting up Israel for a fall?
Your beloved President Obama. We call him the Fuhrer.
Why?
Why? Because he's a liar and a cheat. He wouldn't be president if it wasn't for the Jewish vote. And for 3 years, everything that he can do to attack the Jewish faith in Israel, he's done. Only last week, cutting off $6 to $7 million in funding for missiles. While he tells AIPAC, everything Israel wants, I give. I'm their best friend. I'm better than white bread. What are you going to do?
And how do you feel AIPAC is treating the presidency?
They're more interested in being addressed by Obama than they're interested in either their faith or Israel.
You know, I just imagine this happening in Germany in 1933. For me, this is just people that hate that Jews live in a place and they want to remove the Jews. That's what they're saying, just remove the Jews. And this is so hurtful and so much hatred. And then they try and turn it around and say it's the Jews that are being hateful. The Jews are trying to establish a state. It's a young state. We want to live peacefully with and coexist with the peoples of the area. But what they want is to remove the Jews.
But they're saying they want to remove Jews from the settlements. You think that's all they want?
You know, it starts removing Jews from settlements, then they want to remove Jews from Jerusalem, and then they want to remove Jews from Jaffa and Akko and Haifa. And then in the end of the day, they want to send the Jews back to wherever America.
Do you think that they think that Palestine can live safely side by side with Israel?
They don't want Israel. Just if the Palestinians, if they wanted a state, they could have had a state already. In 2001, Barak offered them 99%. They wanted to, they said no. Then they were offered by Olmert also. 99% they said no. If they wanted a Palestinian state, they could have had a Palestinian state a long time ago.
So what are they arguing for here now today?
I have no idea. All I can hear is that they want Jews out of settlements.
The principles that I laid out yesterday, the belief that our ultimate goal has to be a secure
Should Israel trust Obama and to defend Israel, as you say, to get Israel's back?
Israel understands. Israel trusts in God and in the ability of the Israeli people to defend themselves. I don't think Israel should trust any American politician. Really, none. Or any Israeli politician for that matter. But what Israel should trust is the IDF and the spirit of the people and their ability to defend themselves. Now, having said that, I'm a Republican. I didn't vote for Obama. I don't think he has been a good president for Israel's sake. He has not been a total disaster, but close. And I think that what we'll find is with President Romney, who has a long-term 30-year friendship with Bibi Netanyahu, and it speaks regularly with Prime Minister Netanyahu, I think we'll find a much more constructive and productive relationship between Israel and the United States. Thank you.
People who are voting this November who love Israel, what do you suggest?
Well, you know, it's very important that we get educated. All of us really need to take every opportunity to get educated. There's a movie out, 2016. Go see the movie. Make sure that you know everything about the people that are running. So don't be an ignorant person going to these polls, and get your friends to go to get educated as well. It's the most important election of our lifetime, of my lifetime. I'm a little older than you are. But it's very, very key and very important. I happen to know Mr. Romney. I know Mr. Ryan. These are two very stand-up guys. They're honorable people. They're people of faith. They're people of, with a passion for the truth. And yes, these two guys are expert in doing the hard work that is required to make a plan, to get the numbers straight, and to figure out ways through this abyss that we've been thrown into. So I say, vote for these guys. And I say anybody who's interested in the state of Israel, and I hope that all Jewish people have a great abiding love for Israel. I'm not Jewish, but I have that love for Israel. Please, this is very important. There are They're on a very difficult situation right now. They're in a very tight squeeze, and they've been placed there, unfortunately, over these past 3 years, in a very desperate situation. Now, we've got to do something about this, because we can't let Israel go. We cannot let Israel go. Anyway, you guys.
Do you think Obama has it out for Israel in another term?
Look, every indication of what Obama has done with Israel, and you can talk about the leaks, which prevented them from responding properly, taking away bases in Azerbaijan, the constant attention, and criticism of Israeli people building on their own land while they let Iran, go toward a nuclear weapon, and the people in Iran were fighting against this administration of the mullahs and Ahmadinejad. We did nothing as a nation. They cried out for help from us, and what did we do? We turned our backs. This is it's not a good situation, and every indication has been, the support for the lack of support for proper security for Israel, the suggestion that they go back to the table with the Palestinians, starting with the 67 borders as a base. This is genocide. So we must educate ourselves. We must know what's going on here. We must know what the stakes are. I said tonight, I was on this telethon, and I said, there's never been a more dangerous situation for the state of Israel than right now, and that's a state that has been attacked every second of its existence. I'm saying right now is worse than ever, and I don't want to see another Holocaust in my life.
Do you think just Israel is imperiled, or the United States also from Iran?
Well, look, you talk about, first of all, we had a victory in Iraq handed to this administration, and what did they do? They pulled their troops out too early. They pulled out too many troops, so they had no security there, no presence there that could keep the enemies from coming in and taking over, which they did. We handed them Iraq on a platter. We're doing the same thing with Afghanistan right now. So this is a bad situation, and I don't want to. I mean, it's obvious that this has got to be turned around somehow. But for many people, it's too late. But for Israel, we still have a chance to save it, and we have to protect our shores as well. When Ahmadinejad talks about the evil in the world, he puts his finger on Israel and the United States. When madmen speak, you should listen. You should learn that lesson from the 20th century. Okay, thanks.
Promise my picture.
No, where's my picture? Come here. Get this.